Hello students, we are back here to study statistics. In the previous session, we had seen exercise 14.3 and we were about to start the next concept, graphical representation of cumulative frequency distribution. But as all of us we know, with the recent development from CBSE, they have deleted this topic from this chapter. So we are going to conclude this chapter here and we are going to study the next chapter. The next chapter is probability. I hope you remember that you had studied this chapter in 9th standard. Let us see what further they are going to explain in this. Introduction. In class 9 you have studied about experimental or empirical. The meaning of the word experimental is empirical. Probabilities of events which are based on the results of actual experiments. We discussed an experiment of tossing a coin 1000 times in which the frequencies of the outcomes were as follows. Head 455 times it turned up and tail 545 times it turned up out of 1000 times. Means coin was tossed 1000 times and in which head turned up 445 times and the tail turned up 545 times. Based on this experiment, the empirical probability of a head is 455 upon 1000, that is 0.455, and that of getting a tail is 0.545. What they have explained further? Also see example 1, chapter 15 of class 9th mathematics textbook. They are referring or they are giving the reference of 9th standard example 1, chapter 15, means of the same thing. Note that these probabilities are based on the results of an actual experiment of tossing a coin 1000 times. What they are telling, these probabilities are based on the results of an actual experiment. What is the actual experiment? Of tossing a coin 1000 times. For this reason, they are called experimental or empirical probabilities. In fact, experimental probabilities are based on the results of actual experiments. They are saying they are based on the results of actual experiments and adequate recordings of the happenings of the events. Adequate recordings means the data has been recorded and of the happening of the events, means a sufficient number of times it has happened and it has been recorded. Moreover, these probabilities are only estimates. What they are saying further, these are only estimates. If we perform the same experiment for another 1000 times, we may get a different data giving different probability estimates. Further they are explaining us, if we perform the same experiment another 1000 times, we may get different data giving different probability estimates. In class 9, you tossed a coin many times and noted the number of times it turned up head or tails. It turned up heads, not head, heads or tails. You also noted that as the number of tosses of the coin increased, the experimental probability of getting a head or tail came closer and closer to the number half. What they are saying, you also noted that as the number of tosses of the coins increased, what happened then? The experimental probability of getting a head or tail came closer and closer to the number half. Not only you, but many other persons from different parts of the world have done this kind of experiment and recorded the number of heads that turned up. For example, the 18th century French naturalist Comte de Buffon tossed a coin 4040 times and got 2048 heads. When he tossed the coin for 4040 times, in that how many times the head turned up? 2048 times the head turned up. The experimental probability of getting a head in this case was 2048 upon 4040, that is 0.507. J.E. Kerridge from Britain recorded 5067 heads in 10,000 tosses of a coin. What another person from Britain he recorded? That he recorded 5067 times head turned up when 10,000 tosses of a coin were done. The experimental probability of getting a head in this case was 5067 upon 10,000 is equals to 0.5067. Statistician Carl Pearson spent some more time making 24,000 tosses of a coin. One more person, Carl Pearson, what he did? Spent some more time making 24,000 tosses of a coin. He got 12,012 heads. Thus, the experimental probability of a head obtained by him was 0.5005. From this, I hope it is clear. What is clear? It has been explained on the previous page that as the tosses of the coin increased, the experimental probability of getting a head or tail came closer and closer to the number half. And here 0.5, you can see the same is happening here in getting the experimental probabilities. Now suppose we ask what will be the experimental probability of a head be if the experiment is carried on up to say 1 million times or 10 million times and so on. You will intuitively feel, it is your intuition, that as the number of tosses increases, the experimental probability of a head or a tail seems to be settling down around the number 0.5, that is half, which is what we call the theoretical probability of getting a head or getting a tail. What is the conclusion here? The number of tosses increases, the experimental probability of a head or a tail seems to be settling down around the number 0.5, that is half, which is what we call the theoretical probability of getting a head or getting a tail. As you will see in the next session, in this next section, in this chapter, we provide an introduction to the theoretical, also called classical. What? Probability of an event. Theoretical probability of an event, or it is also known as classical probability of an event, and discuss some simple problems based on this concept. What we are going to discuss? Some simple problems on this concept we are going to discuss. Probability, a theoretical approach. Let us consider the situation. Suppose a coin is tossed at random. Something in the box they have explained us. Let us see what the explanation is. When we speak of a coin, we assume it to be fair, that is, it is symmetrical, so that there is no reason for it to come down more often on one side than the other. We call this property of the coin as being unbiased by the phrase random toss. We mean that coin is allowed to fall freely without any bias or interference. Here they have explained it very properly, that when a coin is tossed at random, or whenever we are thinking of any event that is going to happen, further we are going to study, they are telling in general the things to us, that when we speak of a coin, we assume it to be fair, means there is nothing that it may happen that every time the one side only will turn up. There is no such situation, no such condition, no such setup where the coin is tossed. Means the things are made very clear that this is an unbiased thing. This is an unbiased thing. So, by the phrase random toss, we mean that the coin is allowed to fall freely without any bias or interference. We know in advance that the coin can only land in one of the two possibilities. The above explanation is this only. What is that? We know in advance that the coin can only land in one of two possibilities. Means sometimes we say that the coin may stand vertical. No such possibilities are there. So what are one of the two possible ways? Either head up or tail up. We dismiss the possibility of landing on its edge. That's what I was saying just now. We dismiss, what we dismiss? That possibility of landing the coin on its edge, means standing vertical, no way. Which may be possible, for example, if it falls on sand. Where it is possible, if it is falling on the sand, it may be possible. Okay. But we dismiss such things. This is the most important thing. We can reasonably assume that each outcome, head or tail, is likely to occur as the other. Yes, it may be either head or either tail. It is likely to occur as the other. As we are confident of getting head, similarly we are confident of getting tail also. We refer to this by saying that the outcomes head and tail are equally likely. We refer to this by saying that what? The outcomes head and tail are equally likely. Yes. I hope the base is very clear. They have made it very clear what are the possibilities and in what are the conditions, how the things are unbiased. Okay. For another example of equally likely outcomes, suppose we throw a die once. For us, a die will always mean a fair die. What are the possible outcomes? They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each number has the same possibility of showing up. So, the equally likely outcomes of throwing a die are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Yes, these are the equally likely outcomes for throwing a die. What just now we had seen before this, what are the equally likely outcomes for throwing a coin, for tossing a coin, not throwing a coin, for tossing a coin, head and tail. These are equally likely outcomes. Just now only we had seen here. Possibilities of head also and possibilities of tail also. The same is happening here for a die. Are the outcomes of every experiment equally likely? Let us see. What further is been explained to us, that are the outcomes of every experiment equally likely means whether it is in the same way, is it the possibility the same, equally likely. Suppose that a bag contains 4 red balls and 1 blue ball, and you draw a ball without looking into the bag. What they have said further, that there is a bag which contains 4 red balls and 1 blue ball, and you draw a ball without looking into the bag. This is the most important thing, without looking into the bag. What are the outcomes? Are the outcomes a red ball and a blue ball equally likely? The question is, are the outcomes what? A red ball and a blue ball equally likely? Since there are 4 red balls and only 1 blue ball, you would agree that you are more likely to get a red ball than a blue ball. Obviously, when 4 red balls are present and 1 blue ball is present, it is but natural, our thinking is that more likely we can get a red ball than a blue ball. So the outcomes, a red ball or a blue ball, are not equally likely. However, the outcome of drawing a ball of any color from the bag is equally likely. See what they are saying. So the outcome, so the outcomes what? A red ball or a blue ball are not equally likely because they are not in the same number. Okay. However, the outcome of drawing a ball of any color from the bag is equally likely. So all experiments do not necessarily have equally likely outcomes. However, in this chapter from now, we will assume that all the experiments have equally likely outcomes. What we have assumed, that all the experiments have equally likely outcomes. In this chapter, it has been considered in this way. In class 9, we defined the experimental or empirical probability P of E of an event E. What is the event? It is E, as P of E is equals to number of trials in which the event happened and a total number of trials. That is, what is the probability of that particular event? It is what? Number of trials in which the event happened and a total number of trials. This is P of E. The empirical interpretation of probability can be applied to every event associated with an experiment, which can be repeated a large number of times. Yes, what they are saying, the empirical interpretation of probability can be applied to every event associated with an experiment, which can be repeated a large number of times. The requirement of repeating an experiment has some limitations, as it may be very expensive or unfeasible in many situations. Yeah, they have mentioned some limitations also, that it may be expensive for repeating that particular experiment, or it may be unfeasible in some of the situations. Of course, it worked well in coin tossing or die throwing experiments. In this two mentioned experiments, it worked very well. But how about repeating the experiment of launching a satellite in order to compute the empirical probability of its failure during launching? Yeah, tossing a coin or throwing a die. These experiments can be repeated many number of times, not a problem. But what they are saying further means our thinking was this much only, that we are tossing a coin or we are throwing a die. But now they are saying, how about repeating the experiment of launching a satellite in order to compute the empirical probability? What is the event or what is the experiment is of launching a satellite in order to calculate the empirical probability. Compute means to calculate of its failure during launching. I hope students, you know very well that launching a satellite takes thousands of crore. All of you are knowing very well. So can we repeat this experiment frequently? I hope you understand. Or the repetition of the phenomenon of an earthquake to compute the empirical probability of a multi-storied building getting destroyed in an earthquake. Yeah, the second example is also something very dangerous. What they are saying, repetition of the phenomenon of an earthquake to compute the empirical probability, to calculate the probability, we are expecting what phenomenon? Earthquake to happen. I hope you understand the seriousness when an earthquake happens. All the things get destroyed just like anything. And we cannot expect such things. And that too for what? To compute the empirical probability of a multi-storied building getting destroyed in an earthquake. So, in experiments where we are prepared to make certain assumptions, the repetition of an experiment can be avoided. What they are saying further, what they are explaining further, in experiments where we are prepared to make certain assumptions, the repetition of an experiment can be avoided, as the assumptions help in directly calculating the exact probability, that is the theoretical, in bracket it is written theoretical probability. The assumption of equally likely outcomes, which is valid in many experiments, as in the two examples above of a coin and of a die, is one such assumption that leads us to the following definition of probability of an event. The theoretical probability, also called classical probability of an event E, written as P of E, is defined as P of E is equals to number of outcomes favorable to E of that particular event and number of all possible outcomes of the experiment. What they are saying, theoretical probability or classical probability, which is also known as, of an event E. E is an event written as P of E, probability P of E is defined as the number of outcomes favorable to E, whatever the event is based on, and number of all possible outcomes of the experiment, where we assume that outcomes of the experiment are equally likely. What we have assumed that? We have assumed that outcomes of the experiment are equally likely. We will briefly refer to theoretical probability as probability. Theoretical probability is termed as probability. This definition of probability was given by Pereire, Simon, Laplace in 1795. Here is a description about this particular mathematician and physician. You can go through this. I will just proceed further. Let us find the probability of some of the events associated with experiments where the equally likely assumptions holds. Where the equally likely assumptions hold. What is the first example? Find the probability of getting a head when a coin is tossed. Also find the probability of getting a tail when the also find the probability of getting a tail. Fine. The question is, find the probability of getting a head when a coin is tossed once. Also find the probability of getting a tail. In the experiment, what they have explained us in the solution, in the experiment of tossing a coin once, the number of possible outcomes is 2. What are the number of possible outcomes? Is 2. Head and tail. Yes. When a coin is tossed, what is the output expected? Head, else tail. So what are the possible outcomes? Head and tail. Let E be the event getting a head. What is the event here? The event is of getting a head. The number of favorable outcomes to E, that is of getting a head, is 1. Therefore P of E or is equals to P of head. Why? E is the event of getting a head. So P of head is equals to number of outcomes favorable to E upon number of all possible outcomes. Now number of outcomes favorable to E is equals to 1 and number of all possible outcomes is what? 2. Head and tail are the possible outcomes and the favorable outcome is what? Head, that is 1, once it may happen. Similarly, if F is the event of getting a tail, then P of F is equals to P of tail is equals to 1 upon 2. Why? Because head and tail are the possible outcomes and they are equally likely outcomes. So as we have thought for head, similarly we are thinking for tail. I hope you are understanding this example. So in this session we have started with this chapter probability and we have concluded the previous chapter without seeing the concept of graphical representation of cumulative frequency. The reason is that, as I had mentioned in the starting of the session, that CBSE board has deleted that topic from that chapter. So today we have started with probability and the first part and the introduction we have seen in one example. We shall conclude this session here. In the next session we shall proceed further with the next example and we shall continue our study of probability. Till that time, you people take care of yourselves and study regularly and properly. Thank you.